A Fox News alert. Live photos right here. ISIS taking credit for the truck attack in Berlin that killed a dozen people and injured almost 50 more. And police agree it was definitely an intentional act. And these images just gripping and powerful of the devastation left behind. Jim Hansen conducted counterterrorism operations while serving in the U.S. Army Special Forces, and he joins us now to react. Good morning, Jim. Obviously, these images are stirring. This administration talks about sadness and thoughts and prayers, and of course, those are emotions that we all have. But how vulnerable are we to this type of attack, and how should Germany and the West be responding?
Well, Pete, I think you're smart enough to know and experienced enough to know that when someone declares war on you, you don't invite them to your country. And that's the problem. Chancellor Merkel has been importing jihadists in massive numbers, more than 1 million last year alone. That's dangerous when you know you cannot vet them. And as you guys said earlier, they have no idea who this guy was. He had multiple pieces of identity, but they allowed him into the country along with millions of others. We're doing the same thing. President-elect Trump has a policy he's announced where he says he will pause immigration from jihadist-influenced areas. That seems like a very common-sense way to start this.
Jim, so as you said, they've been importing jihadists or those wishing to do them harm in Europe. What can they do about those already there? What options do they have on the table in light of the fact that they've already let the enemy in?
Yeah, that's scary. I don't know enough about the internal workings of German security and their laws, but the bottom line is we know which community it is. It's not all Muslims. Let's be perfectly clear. All Muslims are not terrorists, but most of the terrorists these days do follow their version of Islam, and they're fighting for Allah. So you have to start looking there and do everything you can within your laws to conduct surveillance and try to stop these things before they happen.
Yeah, you mentioned the president-elect commenting on the attack. This is what he said yesterday on Twitter. He said, today there were terror attacks in Turkey, Switzerland, and Germany, and it's only getting worse. The civilized world must change thinking. I think that last sentence is a very powerful one. The civilized world changing its thinking. How does the West, America, need to change our viewpoint and our thinking and our policies to adjust to this new reality where a guy doesn't need money or expertise, just needs a truck and a Christmas market?
Yeah, ISIS put out the call to action saying you don't have to build a bomb and flag yourself by doing something that complicated. As long as you drive over and kill infidels, you are one of the blessed. And that's something we need to go ahead and acknowledge. The enemy is here. We have people in our country. I mean, when I came in this morning, I searched to see if any new news was on this. My Google came up with Nice attack and OSU attack, which were both truck attacks. They don't have to do complicated things to kill us, and we need to pay attention to the fact that they're working that angle right now, right here, and we need to face that.
And how worried are you about another attack like this happening in the United States this Christmas season?
Terrified, Pete. You know, I think we'll be lucky to survive without it, but how long has it been since OSU? You know, I think in this case, we have people here who probably are watching the news right now saying, I could be the next ISIS guy. And that's the big thing they learned. ISIS doesn't have to designate. Obama bragged that ISIS hasn't engineered any attacks here. They don't have to. They just make the call, and the jihadists hear it and go ahead and take credit for it later. That's the best thing ISIS could do. It's much safer, and it's working for them.
Yeah, if I hear you, it's less sadness and thoughts and more vigilance and clarity about the nature of the enemy. Jim Hansen, thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Pete.